Hi, I'm Stuart Baker. This is part of our series about how to start a new business in Nevada City. And this section will be covering retail. And one of our grand dames of retail in Nevada City is Peggy Peterson, who owns both Asylum Down and Yabobo right at the corner of Broad and Pine Street. So, Peggy, tell me, how long have you been doing retail?
Well, in Nevada City, I guess it's been around 35 years since I started Asylum Down.
Wow.
But before that, I did craft fairs for like 15, 18 years. So that's also retail.
Mm-hmm.
And I did crafts fair right out of college. I started doing craft fairs and in all around the foothills in California, like 6 months out of the year. And there were several of us. Nevada City is a big town full of craftspeople.
Definitely.
And so we all said we never see each other in Nevada City. We would just see each other in a different town every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And not just myself, but a few other of those people, I think, then ventured into a permanent retail store.
Okay. And you have two stores right next to each other. How did that come about? And how does that work for you?
Well, Asylum Down was the first store, and I just kind of outgrew the space, and so I needed more space. And so then Yabobo started up at the top of the hill.
Right.
And actually Asylum Down had started in the same building up there next to the Nevada Theater and then moved down onto the corner. And then when I ran out of space for Yabobo, it started up there too. And then lo and behold, the space next to Nevada's Asylum Down opened up.
So how intentional was like creating the theme for each? Because Yabobo is musical instruments and Asylum Down is crafts from around the world and
a lot of clothing.
And clothing and stuff like that, right?
Well, it was just, we ventured, I always say we when it's just me, baby.
Yeah.
Ventured into more musical instruments and things, and then there just wasn't room. And then we tried to think of other things that we could add to that.
Right, okay. So what advice would you give to someone that's starting or thinking about retail and setting up a shop in Nevada City?
Yeah, well, that's kind of hard for me to think about because, I did mine such a long time ago.
Right.
And things have changed.
And what is it that has specifically changed? I know the market is like, you didn't have the internet before competing against. Is that part of it? Or is it people have more particular buying habits or tourists here have changed?
I don't know. I think we're lucky that Nevada City is a tourist town, besides just the locals. But I've always had a big clientele of locals. And they're
so that might be something to consider then, creating a business for locals as well as for tourists.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Your business should be for locals and for tourists.
And how do you, because I see the shops, I go by and I think that's a great place for visitors. Well, what do you do to cater to locals to get them integrated into the store or shopping at the store?
Well, I think one of the main things that people feel about my stores are that our prices are extremely reasonable, and so I'm catering to the locals because I want to keep my prices really, really reasonable. And
how do you do that? Like, do you go out and you look at other stores or on the internet, or how do you figure out what that price point is?
I never look on the internet, and I hardly ever go into any other stores. And I wish I would. And when I do go into other stores, I have to say, usually I'm shocked at some of their pricing. So I just feel that I used to do a lot of wholesale shows myself. So I did wholesaling, and
Where you'd sell things that you bought abroad, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I would wholesale my African baskets, musical instruments, and all of those things. And so I've been connected to other wholesalers for years and years and years and years. And so the people that I buy my other items wholesale from are also maybe smaller businesses that cater to other small businesses. I mean, they're not small, but they have a great variety of product. But I think they also have been conscious of keeping their price point reasonable. Yeah, because there's just some big differences out there when it comes to pricing.
Right.
And I've noticed some stores that have opened up recently in Nevada City who are selling some of the same things that I sell at maybe double the price.
Interesting.
And it blows my mind because before you open a store in Nevada City, you think that maybe you'd walk through town and see what's there.
Right.
But some people obviously don't do that.
Right. So let's talk about staffing. I know that's always the perennial issue that people have around running a business in town. How has that worked for you, and what do you do to keep?
I've had the greatest luck with staffing. And
what's your secret? It's not just luck, I'm sure. There's probably something more there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've had people that have worked for me for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, goes on and on and on. Well, first of all, I have to say my employees are not young kids. And so they stick around. And I wouldn't want to come out and say that I have great pricing for my employees. That I have high
salaries.
Salaries, that's the word. But I think I have a good salary, and I'm easy to get along with. You know, I'm flexible. If things come up, we make it all work for everybody.
There's a trust that builds, and then and you
real
have that over
trust.
time. That's
There you
great.
go.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
I mean, I've just been unbelievably lucky. And people will sometimes say to me, well, why don't you expand and do this? And I go, oh, but then I'd have to find another employee. I mean, finding employees, and it's not the most pleasant job in the world.
Right,
it's
yeah.
hard. And
Yeah.
so when it's going smooth, just leave it.
During the slow winter months, what strategies do you use to get around that? Like to make it through? Do you look at your books and kind of go, okay, this is going to be one of those months where I don't make much, and that's okay? Or do you do special promotions, or what do you do to get through that January to April period that's always really tough?
Well, you know what I noticed this year with my January to April period was, you know, we kept our store very well stocked with spring, summer items and stuff and everything up into the fall, because that's the stuff you sell the most. I mean, in the winter, even with clothes, people don't buy as many winter clothes.
Right.
And then our prices are so good, we didn't really put stuff on sale. We saved it.
Right.
So when March came around, we had a lot of spring stuff that we could bring back out.
Nice.
And then plus January, February, well, I'm usually gone a little during that time. And then maybe that's a time when my employees want to take a week off or something, you know. So it all works out. You know, you want to save that Christmas money and make it stretch
it out. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Stretch it out.
So what kind of final sage advice do you have? You meet someone, they're coming to your shop, they're like, I want to start, I don't know what, a violin shop, let's say. Okay, so what would you give them as advice? Or what do you think is the most important thing to consider when you're going to consider a retail shop?
It's really hard for me to come up with an ideal suggestion. I have just always done exactly what I wanted to do. And
well, maybe that's it. Kind of be yourself, and
I
it
know,
seems to work, right?
Do what makes you happy, and hopefully, it'll all work out. That other people will, if you're happy, then they see that and they enjoy coming into your store.
Nice. That's great.
I don't know.
All right. Well, Peggy, thank you so much for spending some time with us, and hopefully this has been helpful for you as well, and we'll see you on another episode. Thanks so much.
Thank you.